Hello to the Queen Student Government. My name is AJ Hess, and my partner Dennis and I have worked hard to create a communications plan that tackles the COVID and COVID-related problems at our beautiful Queen's University. Before we get into the plan itself, let's take some time to analyze the problems at hand.
So, what happened? Well, let's go over a timeline of the issue to gain a better understanding. It all started here at the pier in Breakwater Park on a hot and sunny day in early September, right before the school year was about to start. Hundreds of students came to this site to actively socialize, drink, and play games, all without following any safety measures. Within a week of the incident, social media was all over the place. Local Kingstonians and many students voiced their frustration and disturbance on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, leading to a city council decision to close the pier. So what happened next? Well, nothing. Students continued on with their everyday lives of breaking the rules and ignoring COVID guidelines. Over 6 months have gone by and the COVID status quo remains unchanged. Dennis and I are here to fix that.
After dissecting and analyzing the problem at hand, we depicted the problem's immediate issue as well as the underlying issues that follow. The immediate issue is the students' contributions to the spread of COVID-19. Many students have failed to recognize that although most may survive the COVID-19 infections, they will be spreading the virus throughout the Kingston community, ultimately prolonging the lockdown patterns and social restrictions. The first underlying issue is the diminished reputation of students in the eyes of local Kingstonians. An article from the Kingston Whig Standard stated that the Breakwater Park incident, and I quote, sparked an outrage on social media from mostly local people concerned with the gathering becoming a super spreader for COVID-19. This inevitably damaged the student body's reputation before the school year had started, and Kingstonians began to look down on the students in their community. The second underlying issue is the even greater social divide among students. Students who desire physical interactions tend to disobey the rules and regulations in place to fulfill such desirement. While they acknowledge it is against the rules, they carry the mindset that their decision is only affecting those who choose to break the rules, so it is technically justified. This group does not see those who choose to isolate and respect the rules as less or as bad people. They just form the judgment that since they respect the rules, they must not want to interact with them, even if it's digitally. On the contrary, the other group, which is those who respect the rules, tend to see the first group as bad people. They can't understand how other students don't realize what they're contributing to. They become so frustrated with their actions that they begin to dislike members of the group without getting to know them. The prospect of future relationships within members of these two groups is beginning to seem less likely as time goes on. A solution is needed to rebuild the social success Queens always had. Once we identified both the immediate and underlying issues, we formed various solution alternatives that we felt could best combat all issues at hand. In order to evaluate the effectiveness of each solution, we formed a criteria that compares the impact of each alternative against each other. The first solution we brainstormed was implementing strategic marketing initiatives. This would entail various physical and digital advertisements differentiated through three groups of purpose: to inform, to persuade, and to remind. With optimal placement and eye-catching visuals, the City of Kingston can attempt to shift the mindset many of their students currently have, which is to disobey in order to fulfill social desires. Additionally, Queen's University, and in turn their students, can rebuild their reputation in the eyes of Kingstonians through the recognition they give to the strategic marketing initiatives. A complete shift of focus should shine a light on the COVID culture change this course of action aims to achieve, helping reduce the spread of COVID and restoring the damaged relationship. The second solution we brainstormed was the effective use of word-of-mouth gossip. In essence, this involves spreading rumors about the spread of COVID, the punishment students are facing, and the threat of the dean's intervention. University students are among the most susceptible to gossip, so the immediate effect of this solution should not be questioned. On the contrary, this solution can easily fail without effective timing and implementation. Rumors were spread during the lockdown period, when many residents went into lockdown in early March. However, students were quick to realize that these rumors were not a threat once almost every floor tested negative. It is also necessary to acknowledge the moral issues that come with this solution. The final solution we brainstormed was sending a memo to the Residence Conduct Coordinator. The purpose of the memo should be to influence the coordinator towards taking a sterner and stricter approach to conduct violations that involve COVID-19 precautions. As the gist of the memo is it being a recommendation, the university must understand the use of persuasion when they articulate it. As stated in our course textbook, a persuasive approach is needed when the recipient has to be influenced to take action. The memo should attain a friendly yet professional tone. This will allow for the coordinator to understand the gravity and importance of the issue while ensuring he does not experience fear towards those influencing his actions. The long-term purpose of the memo is to shift the enforcement norms in residence that currently provoke rule-breaking students. By implementing stricter yet rational enforcement norms, many resident students will adapt to the change and respect the new norms, hopefully creating a long-term change in the future.
For recommendations, we plan on implementing 2 advertising campaigns and a memo to residence conduct coordinators. In order to restore the relationship between Queen's University and Kingston, we must communicate to Kingstonians that although students have been contributing to COVID-19 cases, the majority of students are complying with the law. In fact, the dorms at Queen's have not seen a single case for the past 3 weeks. The first set of advertisements will complement the efforts of Queen's students who have prevented the spread of the virus. With these advertisements, Kingstonians will recognize that the reckless behavior of students on news outlets represent a small fraction of the student population. These adverts will be commercialized and viewed on social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. They will also be regularly televised on local news networks. We believe that these commercialized adverts will be able to reach Kingstonians who are currently at home. The second advertising campaign will be posters that will inform students of the indirect effects of spreading COVID-19. Many students fail to recognize the severity of spreading COVID because it does not endanger their immediate health. However, this logic is misplaced as the growing number of cases will create more lockdown restrictions, which inevitably draws out the pandemic. This will definitely affect them indirectly because Queens may opt to stay online if cases continue to increase, and no student wants to remain in online school. The posters will be found throughout Kingston and Queen's University for students who are potentially breaking restrictions outside. Through these poster ads, the reckless logic and behavior of students will be dispelled as they become more informed about the pandemic. In Queen's University, another key issue is the lack of enforcement by residence conduct coordinators. In order to combat this, we will issue a memo to these coordinators that will emphasize the importance of complying with COVID-19 restrictions. This will help ensure that students will comply with the law and stay inside. In terms of our implementation plan, our plan will go as follows. In April, AMS will gather information about COVID-19 in Queen's University. They can gather information through the Queen's Case Tracker or create a survey for all students currently in Kingston. April will also see AMS contact business students or perhaps a Comstock Club to implement a marketing plan for the advertisement campaign. The memo should be drafted and released in this month as well. In late May, AMS will release the commercial and poster advertisements with the new statistics they have researched and gathered. In terms of risk and mitigation, there are several risks associated with our recommendations. The financial risks when funding advertisements may occur when Queen's University or the AMS Society does not have enough funds for the advertisements. To mitigate this financial risk, the advertisements do not have to be year-round. Instead, the adverts could be displayed for just 2 to 3 months. Queen's University also has a massive online presence, which means it can be utilized to advertise COVID-19 restrictions for free with their massive network of clubs. Advertising conflicts can occur when ads that complement Queen's students conflict with informative ads that examine rising cases, which are partly due to Queen's students. As a result, Kingstonians may disregard the efforts of Queen's students because, in their eyes, they are the root cause. Conflicts with ads can be mitigated through actual effort and a decrease in COVID-19 cases among Queen's students. Substantial evidence behind these adverts will dissipate any doubts about students complying with the law or not. Students may complain about restrictions, which can also tarnish the reputation of Queen's University. But faculty members must reassure students that with their compliance, lockdown restrictions will end quicker, and they must note that the vaccine is on its way. It is only a matter of time before we finally get out of the pandemic. We will be measuring the success of this plan through COVID-19 cases related to Queen's University. We predict that with our recommendations, COVID-19 cases among students should decrease by at least 50%. Now I'll pass it off to AJ for our 3 key takeaways.
Dennis and I would like to thank the Alma Mater Society for reaching out to us for an effective communications plan. In light of the plan we presented, we feel like the 3 main issues that came from the problem will be adequately tackled and eventually diminished. While we can't wait to see the plan put in place, here are 3 key takeaways from this experience. First is the amount of cases students have brought to Kingston compared to the social changes we have seen, which is little to none. Second is the power of ads. Students are receptive to advertisements. The advertisements will promote safety and a COVID culture change. And as an added bonus, the local community will recognize the university's efforts. Finally, the last takeaway is the fact that there are many factors that can affect how one perceives written communication, and it is crucial to understand such factors to deliver effective communication. Thank you for watching and taking the time to hear our pitch. We are open to any and all questions now.